Welcome back. It's the Field of 68's off-season grades. And Jeff, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. We are going to grade the Kentucky Wildcats off-season. If we had done this 2 weeks ago, I think it would be an entirely different conversation.
I would have given him an F. Legitimately, Greg, I would have failed John Calipari and sent him back to junior college.
I'm still half expecting you to do that now. We'll see if we get there. But
no, a little bit of luck. A little bit of luck has helped Cal raise his grade to where now he might actually get his degree.
Sometimes you need a little bit of luck. Speaking from experience in my school days, sometimes you need a little luck. Kentucky, let's just run through the names. Oscar Tshiebwe is out after two highly impactful years in the front court. Chris Livingston is gone. Cason Wallace is gone. Xavier Wheeler is gone. Jacob Toppin is gone. And CJ Frederick is gone. Coming back, Antonio Reeves. That's the big one, right? Nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew what he was doing. There were all these rumors. Well, he's back and he's playing in Global Jam, scoring 25 points a game. Along with him, Adu Thiero. I hope I didn't botch that pronunciation. And Ugana Onyenso. New faces, Jeff. This recruiting class is just loaded, as we've come to expect from John Calipari classes. Justin Edwards, DJ Wagner, Aaron Bradshaw, all top 10 names. Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepard. Also guys that have been on the floor, if you've watched them in Global Jam, making an impact. And Trey Mitchell is the one big portal name that made his way from West Virginia to Kentucky. All right, deep breath. Where does this roster start for you heading into next year?
Well, again, it would have been a train wreck to me without Antonio Reeves and Trey Mitchell. But Calipari got a little luck in his side. I think he would probably admit that if he were being honest. Being the beneficiary, number one, of Trey Mitchell after Bob Huggins was fired and Trey Mitchell hit the portal quickly. If they had made Josh Eilert the interim coach quickly, Trey Mitchell might still be at West Virginia right now. So he got Trey Mitchell, huge, especially with the injuries lately to Aaron Bradshaw and now Onyenso. Both of them are going to be out at least for a good portion of the summer, maybe longer. Who knows? And then the Antonio Reeves thing was huge. And obviously I was kind of following that deal, taking classes at Illinois State, not because he missed his professors at Illinois State, but because he was planning on transferring. That was a little a well-known secret. But he was given documentation at a certain point by Kentucky that if he transferred, that he wasn't going to be eligible to play somewhere else. So he decided to go back and play with those freshmen. And man, they were good in the global games, weren't they? That big time competition, the global games. That Canada roster was loaded in the gold medal game. And honestly, with winning the global games, Greg, I'm ready. I don't know about you. I'm ready to move them up. Like, I'm ready to move them up from a fringe top 25 team. I might put them in number one in the preseason because, man, they destroyed in the global games. They looked – but no, come on. Let's be honest here. The global games, you and I might have made the roster for Canada. Okay, so, like, I think, however, the trip was very beneficial for a young group. I'll give them that. For Antonio Reeves to hang around some of those young guys and win and smile and feel good, and some of the young guys to play well. Trey Mitchell to make shots from three. Listen, again, I'm not putting too much stock in the results, but I do think the experience will help this young group. I will say this, Greg. I'm still not a complete believer in the point guard situation at Kentucky, in the fact of playing Dillingham and Wagner together. We'll see. I mean, again, they played against no competition. So, like, you can't evaluate. You cannot evaluate how that team played on the court against, a kid from Maine, a kid from Long Island, a kid from University of Windsor. Like, come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think we might have been able to evaluate it if it went the other way, as unfair as it sounds to say out loud. But, like, if Kentucky showed up and just got ran off the floor by that competition level, then it's like, oh, my God, sound the alarms. But they took care of business. Credit to them for doing so. As I think the talents that are these young players, as they should have when they were matched up with the guys they played against. Now, it's hard for me to think about giving this roster a grade or this offseason a grade until we know what the center spot looks like. And like, are these guys going to be ready at the start of the season? I don't know. Like, it sounds like they might not, right? And if that's the case, I'm pretty scared for what happens with this roster, as talented as the guard spot and the wing is. Now, to your point, if Reeves was not back in uniform, the whole thing burns down, right? But because he is, now you can start to see some semblance of a team. We made a lot on our very own network, Jeff. We made a lot of comments about how Oscar Tshiebwe came with some limitations last year in the way they played both offensively and defensively, that I'm oddly excited to see what Cal does with this group, because I do think Cal can still coach. And I think now that Sheeb is gone, this team's going to look a lot different. They were shooting more threes in this event than we've seen from Kentucky in a very long time. Now, what scares me here, and I want to ask you this, because I think you know more about this program than almost anybody these days. Why are they not having more success in the portal with incoming guys? Like, I'm confused by it, because I would think if you had told me 5 years ago that this is what the sport is going to be today, I would think Kentucky's dominating that landscape, and we haven't seen that happen.
Well, it's very hard when you've got the Fab Five coming in, or six, or whatever it is. I don't know what they're calling these guys, but people were trying to tell me that it was the best class of all time. And I'm like, no, let's settle down, people, because this freshman class isn't very good to begin. There was no number one player. I love Justin Edwards. Don't get me wrong. I love him. He's the guy I'm buying stock in. The two guys were Edwards and Aaron Bradshaw, to be honest. But I think Edwards is that big wing who can just score the ball. Bradshaw, I just love him because a lot of his potential, but I also think he could be productive. I'm just worried about him missing so much time in the off, leading up to the season. I'm worried about him being repped by Rich Paul, and he may never play. Who knows? I mean, we've seen this with Shaedon Sharp. We've seen a little bit, obviously, with Nick Smith last year, pulling him. Arkansas never thought he was coming back. He came back, didn't play well. So who knows with Rich Paul what he's going to do? A lot of times it's not the kid's decision whether he's going to play or not. So I think with the portal, how many transfers you saw? Antonio Reeves didn't want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Really didn't want to come back because of the freshman. He saw the writing on the wall in a way of like, yeah, maybe I'll be the leading scorer, but maybe I won't, because these dudes are all highly touted guys. They've got to play. They're going to want theirs. They're going to want to eat. I still think Reeves will average, he might average 16, but I think he looked at it as maybe I can go somewhere else and be able to show a little bit more what I can do. And maybe he will this year, just because they don't have really a point guard. So maybe Reeves will do a little bit more off the bounce than he did last year. Reed Shepard's got to play because he knows how to move the ball. He can make shots. There are a lot of questions with this team. And I think it starts with youth. Number one, you added some experienced guys, thankfully, and Reeves coming back and Trey Mitchell, but youth. And I don't know if I love the fact that they're jacking so many threes, because I don't think this is a great perimeter shooting team. I think they did it in the global games against, the Rob Dosters and the Greg Waddells of the world. But when they actually start to play some, SEC caliber teams and Champions Classic and some of those teams, I don't know if you want to be shooting 35 threes a game.
I laugh every time you say global games, for the record. That's just, if I could make that my ringtone on repeat, I absolutely would. I think that's super fair. I want to throw my hottest Kentucky take at you right now, and I think you're going to laugh me off this call. I think Antonio Reeves is a 20 points a game guy. I think that's going to happen. Do you think there's any
how he can be? I just don't know how he can be. Like, again, like Wagner's going to want his. Dillingham's going to want his. Edwards is going to get his. We saw Trey Mitchell's going to. Now, again, they don't have a ton of dudes. That might be the only way he gets 20, is because they just don't have the depth. So Reeves may not be able to come off the floor. You're also, listen, you've got visions of the global games right now in your head.
I do.
And you need to get some of those visions out of your head and remember what Reeves did in the final NCAA tournament game.
Well, he shot the ball like he was going to score 20. It just didn't go in. I like that mentality. I'm a shooter, Jeff. We like that. All right. If you had to pull out one X factor here, I don't even know what you would pull out here, but I'm excited to hear you try and answer the question. Who's the X factor for Kentucky next year?
It's point guard play, I guess, because I think they can actually get away without having like Bradshaw. I mean, I think you need Bradshaw and or Onyesu, but I'd rather Bradshaw. But I think you can get away with it by throwing Trey Mitchell at the 5 and just playing small ball. Like that's honestly the way Cal should play anyway.
Be fun.
So I think it's point guard play. I think it's clearly point guard play for me. And again, a young point guard, whoever it's going to be, and it may be multiple guys. Like Dillingham scares me just because I think he can be up and down in his decision making. And that's for most freshmen. Like there aren't many Tyus Jones out there, right? Most of these guys are going to be up and down as freshman point guard. Well, he's a freshman point guard that's surrounded with a bunch of other freshmen. You know, again, Reeves and Mitchell being the 2 guys that have been around, but like it's not like Trey Mitchell is like this all world player either. Like been 2 years at UMass, he was good. You know, he basically he left Texas 3/4 of the way through their season, and then the last couple West Virginia. Now he's old. That's good. You got to be old. You got to be old. I wish they had another older dude. You know, I said this when Wagner committed. I actually think DJ Wagner, it would be better for Louisville and Kentucky if DJ Wagner had gone to Louisville.
Wow.
Yes.
I don't know if I can get there. I'm higher on Wagner than you, as I think anybody on earth that just was introduced to DJ Wagner might be higher on Wagner than you are from the sounds of it. But
no, I like
concerns.
him.
It's fair
but
concern.
I just think he needs the ball in his hands. Not a great shooter. Again, you've got Reeves, you've got Justin Edwards, you've got Dillingham, you've got Reed Shepard. And again, from his perspective, I just don't understand why he didn't go to Louisville because he could have been the dude.
Yeah.
Could have been playing 35 minutes a game and getting, 20 shots.
It's a lot of mouths to feed. That's for sure. All right. If we had to set an expectation, I mean, this is Kentucky we're talking about. The expectation, as long as John Calipari has been on the sideline here, has been national championships. Is there any world that this team wins a national championship next season?
0. 0.1. How's that? 0.1. I'm not going to say 0 because there's a world. There's a world, but I don't see it happening. I'd be shocked. I'd be really, really surprised. I think if you're a Kentucky fan and you get to the second weekend, something you haven't done in 5 years, that would be a success this year to me. I know they won't think that way. I know they're thinking Final Four, and that's fair. Like you should be thinking Final Four. All I'm saying is take it one step at a time right now because it's been a disaster the last few years in the NCAA tournament. Get to the second weekend and then call me.
Yeah, that's fair. I have one final hypothetical for you on this because Cal was after this guy. I may or may not have seen him in a Detroit-based airport. If you flew Hunter Dickinson to Lexington next season with everything else on the roster the same, it's this roster, you just insert Hunter Dickinson, where are they ranked in your preseason poll?
Probably like 5 to 10, somewhere in that range.
Okay, I was curious if they would jump all the way up to like where you would have Duke right now.
No, it's still those guards scare me, and again, like at that point, I guess Reeves was kind of gone, or at least 1.5 feet out the door, taking classes, working on his, I don't know, sociology. I wonder what he was taking. Like that, I still want to find out from Antonio Reeves, like what were these classes you were taking? How locked in were you?
Yeah, we need to send you and Doster to Illinois State to do the old Robbie Hummel statue investigation, but this time it's Antonio Reeves grades investigation. All right, speaking of grades, let's assign an official grade for the Kentucky Wildcats offseason. You said 2 weeks ago this would have been a burn it down F from you. What do you give their offseason as of today?
I'm going to give it a C-. I'm going to give it a C- because I just think so much luck was involved. I can't give Cal a lot of credit for the luck of Trey Mitchell. I mean, he totally lucked into that one. I think he did a horrible job this offseason and didn't even pull a rabbit out of his ass. Like just, again, like got lucky. Even if you get Reeves back and not Mitchell right now, you're screwed with the injuries to the bigs. Like the preparation just was poor on John Calipari's planning this year. So a C-, and that might be a little bit kind.
Yeah, I'm the harsh grader. I think it is a little kind. I'm going D plus. I'll give him the plus. I'll assign the plus. I struggle with this because I never really know whether or not I should include the entire recruiting class as part of this. Like, obviously, those are the new faces. But to me, when we're grading, like, what did this coaching staff go out to do this offseason? They already knew most of these guys were going to be on campus on this roster. They didn't know who else would be, and they didn't really answer anything else. Like you said, they lucked into Mitchell, and to an extent, they lucked into Antonio Reeves staying. So I'm just baffled. Like I said, I'm struggling with why Kentucky can't find a happy medium between the freshman talent and winning in the portal, given they are Kentucky. And I think it's really hurting them. Like, if you look at the last few years and you look at especially what they're going to have on the floor next season, they are lacking some sort of veteran star that they just didn't go out and get. Maybe Trey Mitchell can be that guy. Maybe I'm wrong and I'll eat those words. But, like I said, I'm evaluating them they tried to get Hunter Dickinson standpoint on that scale. They didn't get him. It would shift everything if they did get him for me. So D plus from me, a C minus from Jeff Goodman. We'll give him a C plus just so we don't have Kentucky fans yelling at us.
Kentucky fans. Just send all your hate mail to Greg.
Okay? Remember,
he gave a word. I was generous in my grading.
Yeah, you're going to have to get in line behind a couple other fan bases, I think. That's okay, though. That's why we are here to do our offseason grade series, where you can find all of our top 40 off seasons on the Field of 68 YouTube channel. Click subscribe for us while you are over there. Jeff, this has been fun. For Jeff Goodman, my name is Greg Waddell. We'll see you next time.
Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water, or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field 68 FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.